Hello everybody, this is Lee Phillips' Journey of Truth. We are downtown Loganville at the library site, and it is Tuesday, June the 3rd. It is 10 after 8 in the morning. We've got a beautiful sunrise. A beautiful day. It's 66 degrees right now, getting up to 84 degrees today. But I wanted to come down and give an update. Yard work at the house has really been keeping me busy to stay on top of it, but they've been pulling the dirt that was brought up from the retention pond off of the top of the hill and loading it down here and digging all this down. This dirt that is magically good for the library to be built on, but it wasn't good enough to sell because it was sandy soil, uncompactable. So now, even though it was sandy soil, uncompactable, they're using it and they're compacting it. And that's what our library is going to be built on. I'm going to do a walk around of the site here in just a minute, but just a few minutes ago there were just piles and piles and piles where the dump truck had brought it down. And within just a matter of minutes, just a few minutes, this guy on this loader, man, he knocked them things down and got them all flattened out. They're gonna get everything flattened out with the bulldozer there, and then they're going to come back with the compactor and they'll compact everything down, and then they'll get the truck and they'll load it up and bring more down and flatten it out and compact it. Let me adjust my stand here so we can walk around. A little bit of morning traffic here on Main Street, but not too bad. So we're gonna give y'all a look at the ditch line down through here. Now, depending on how much they build that up, I don't know how they're gonna do this curbside walkway and drainage and all that, but it looks to me like they're gonna have to put a retention wall on this end down here to support all the dirt that they're building up. Right here you can see where it started spilling over toward the road, but the silt fence worked like it was supposed to in this area right here. And water flowing down the road from up there excuse me, that doesn't go in the ditch was flowing in right here and running into the ditch on this side. But it used to divert from here over into the pond that is completely filled in because they got all their piping and all done. And so what they didn't do was reestablish that drain area for the water to slow down so that the mud would have a place to deposit, because see, all this water here came from up yonder that was in right here, and then it just flowed right on out into the regular ditch line. And so what happened was, because that was no longer operable, all the water from the property and the mud came down the ditch line and hit the culvert right here. Well, all that did was make the pond right here in this area, and the water spilled under the silt fence and ran out on the road right here. And look here, there's already been big trucks coming up through here trying to make this turn right here, and they are running off of the road, and they are running over the brand new grate that was put in right there, which I think needs to be raised up. That, I don't know, they got to do something right here. And so it looks like the solution to being able to make the turn is drive onto this property right here and just use this property for your turning going up the road. So I don't know how that's going to be allowed to happen. That turn is too tight. There's no way for trucks to maneuver on Lucy Street down to Covington Street because of this tight turn right here. You cannot get a trailer, and if you have to drive on somebody else's private property, that's not legal. You can't use private property. Doesn't matter that nobody's living here, and even if the city owned it, that's not a designated driving area for trucks. That ground has not been compacted properly for trucks to drive on. It is not a sufficient turn lane for trucks to use. A truck's going to end up dropping a wheel off or something in that drain, blowing a tire or something, tipping their load over, and then there's going to be a big accident. We're going to walk on up Lucy Street over there, but just wanted to take a look down through here. The grass is coming in on the banks. There's not too bad of a washout. On the hill over there, there's a little bit, but not bad. Grass is going to get growed in. There's a little bit of a washout over here against the wall. They probably need to put rock all the way down that side right there until it gets down to the bottom where the grass is right there, and probably need to put another horseshoe round around that outport right there. And there's definitely a washout on the other side, this side of that pine tree, where the ditch line turns into the pond right there. That's going to wash out bad if they don't put some big rock right there. And what they're going to do over there where the drain is, I know in the bottom they've still got to dig that out, and there's a 6-inch drain pipe down there that will drain water continuously. So there will actually never be any water sitting in this pond unless we have a huge rain, and then the water will only go up to the bottom of those two big tubes, because those are so big, the outflow of water in the pond, it will be greater than the inflow. So it's going to work good, but why it had to be so big, that's still beyond me. Seems like they could have achieved it with not even taking nothing off the hill up there, and half of what they did down here to be able to have a big enough size area to take care and handle the amount of water that comes down through here. So might have been some exaggerated planning to get more money. That happens a lot. You exaggerate the plans so that you can show the biggest amount possible, and then you do everything you can to cut that down so that you still have a good baseline on top after everything's done, or you're able to give good profits or incentives to companies for things that they come up with. I never did like that area of real estate. So where they've come through here, they have busted the asphalt and pushed the asphalt down, making this turn. So we want to document this, because this has to do with the site up here and the trucks coming to this site up here, because that's a different company that did the retention pond down there. Alright, so let's take a look from this side. Now this pile of dirt here, we'll see what they do with it, but this is the one that, this is all the dirt where all the tree roots was, where they cut the trees down. And you see all the roots in there. Well, you definitely can't use that for backfill, because the tree roots will rot and then they'll leave empty spaces. And so they got a lot of pipe put in the ground right here. That's a lot of digging and all still got to be going on. Now I see wood all in this pile that came from the pond down there, and they're using this stuff for backfill. There's wood, PVC. Metal, terracotta pipe, you know, there ain't no telling what you find. That ground down there ain't been disturbed in over 100 years, and there's no telling what kind of secrets or artifacts, old coins, maybe even some Indian artifacts, because all this area was once settled by the Cherokee Indians. They had part of their, this area was part of their area where they lived, and there was another group around the same time as the Cherokees that were here. So, you know, there could be all kinds of cool little artifacts. Now this hole has gotten bigger, so it looks like what they're gonna do, they're digging out all this hard packed ground right here, and they're using it down there on the backfill, and they're probably gonna take all this sandy dirt that ain't worth nothing, and they'll probably dump it back in the hole. That's what it looks like's going on. So we want to get the truth out there, folks. We can speculate, but when we see, then we know. So that's definitely what's happening. They're getting this. Now this is pretty good hard packed ground right here. There's some different colors in the ground down there. I would love to be able to look at the different layers down there to see the change in the deposits, because all this ground, all this clay was made by the glaciers grounding the Appalachian Mountains down to powder. And as the glaciers moved downward, they pushed all this fine sediment in front of them. Well, when it all melted, all this fine clay sediment was left, and that's why we have the clay. Because the glaciers ground down the rock till there was nothing left but fine powder clay. This all used to be farmland too. Yeah, I probably should have been doing more updates, but I've been busy in the yard. It ain't easy being disabled and trying to keep up your place and go to doctor's appointments and have energy to get out and do a whole lot a lot of times. So I'll try to do better. Don't be too hard on me. We do what we can. Welcome to downtown Loganville. It'll grow on you. Come on down, check us out. Help show some love to the local business communities. Give your input at the council meetings. Be involved with what's going on in the community. And hey, we got an election coming up. We got to elect a new mayor. We got council folks that's got to be elected. If you think you got something to contribute to our town as far as being a political figure, hey, give me a shout out if you're going to run for office. As far as I'm concerned, that's, you know, part of history of Loganville. That's a historical event. And if you want to run and you'd like to make a public comment, hit me up. We'll do a video. I'll put anything out there that is of public interest that has to do with our Loganville town. Because if we don't preserve the information, and in this day and time, it is so easy to preserve information, then it's lost if it's not preserved, and people forget what they know as they get older, and the younger folks don't know, and so stuff gets lost. And no, I'm not the only one that brings about news for what's going on in Loganville, but we have to support everybody. All these people's inputs is important. We need more input. Bring us your ideas. I love my idea for underground Loganville. It could work. Yeah, it's costly, but it could work, and it would solve all the problems of traffic and everything. But you gotta have a money sponsor to do things, and finding somebody with a lot of money that's willing to invest in a town, that's hard to do. Most folks are always willing to get in power and take money from a town, but not everybody is invested in actually growing a town for the benefit of the town. Usually it's for the benefit of the individual. So, but that's how politics works. It's all about having something in life, a skill set that enables you to get your living off of the backs of the hard-working folks of America. You know, think about it. What skill set do lawyers provide that actually produces a meaningful product? Their skill set is words on paper. That's their skill set. Well, it pays good. But it only works as long as there's a fair and equal justice system. So our country's young, 250 years. In the scheme of time, that's not very long. There's been other civilizations that have lasted for over 1,000 years. Now just think about it. How can we preserve our way of living so that our country would last over 1,000 years? Think of all we've gone through in the past 250 years. And multiply that by 3 or 4 times. Sometimes I think the older societies knew a little something more about things than what we do. Although we have become more technically advanced, I think we've lost a lot of knowledge. Hey, when we can't figure out still how they did things thousands of years ago, and we still don't have an answer, yeah, I would say we're a little bit dumber than they were. So now they got the packing machine going. Got a dumpster truck here looking to to go somewhere. He came up the street a while ago and had to make a turn. No telling where he's going. I think he's lost. Google Maps will mess with you in Loganville. If you're a delivery person, it will send you to the wrong location, the wrong street, the wrong side of town. Sometimes it can be a nightmare. So I'm gonna set my feet back out on my stand here. Bear with me just a second, might be a little bit of shaking going on. You know, I found it kind of don't matter sometimes what you're videoing, because there's a lot of folks out there that like a lot of different things. There's folks out there that just like to watch machinery run. Now, I've always been one of those kind of folks. I love watching machinery run. Just something fascinating about big equipment. You take a motor, a power source, and you build a whole piece of machinery around that power source, and you go out and put that piece of machinery to work. When you look at something like that roller over there, compactor, there's a lot that went in to that piece of machinery. And when you look at the cost, that cost has to be spread over different departments that came up with different designs. You don't just like throw a tire on an axle and stick under it. Every single thing has to be designed with the weight load and the operation intended for the piece of machinery. Now we got a City of Loganville guy down there. He's actually looking at the corner where the truck cut across the yard. So maybe Loganville is on top of things. Maybe they're going to get this issue straightened out and it won't even be an issue. If that's what he's doing down there. My observation is that looks like what he's doing. He's probably taking pictures and all so that he can make his report. Maybe he's doing something else. Was that a paint marker? Oh, he might actually be going to mark some services. Yeah, he's got a paint marker. He's marking out a zone for something. I'm gonna walk down there, see if I can have a conversation, find out what he's marking out. Thank you, folks. Back and forth, back and forth. Riding that Packer back and forth. Packing it down. Man, they got all kinds of survey markings on the road. He didn't do that. These are location pins, I guess, for work that they're going to be doing. They had to come out to the road. All right, so got it marked there, and he's marking it going all the way up the street. Yep, so looks like there's gonna be a whole lot more digging. So yellow is gas, blue is water, and white, I'm gonna guess, is sewer. And there's a problem right here. There was a crew one day that had this dug out, and they were connecting something, but now it has all washed in. So maybe the city's got to come and fix this. Let's see if I can get a word with him here. So yellow's gas, blue is water. What's the white?
White's just laying out where we need stuff located.
Is that gonna be that sewer line that they got to put all the way up the hill?
No, sir, we're gonna come work on the water main over the next couple of days.
Water main line.
So we gotta do some work on it. We gotta move it. They're gonna put a storm drain in.
Yeah. I saw when they were doing these dig outs right here to see if they could locate theirs without it being a problem, and it didn't work out. So extra work on y'all, but all right, so there we have it. They've got to move the main water line so that this storm drain can go up the hill up through there, because the main water line is right in the path of where they've got to put their stormwater drain. And so here's how projects run. Stormwater systems are the first things to happen on any project, because that is the base one infrastructure that has to be installed, and everything else is built on top of your stormwater runoff drainage system. So that's why those things happen first on a construction site, and then like if it's a housing area, then they put in their main sewer lines and main water lines, and then they put in the curbing and have it to where that they can get ready to asphalt it, so they can start having vehicles come in to start doing the building. Step by step. That's how it goes. All right, folks, well, I got to get back to the house and get some more yard work done. I've got to trim up some stuff, and got to make the yard look pretty, man. Y'all remember, be safe out there. Do something kind for someone. Be good to one another, and y'all have a blessed day.